What's going on, internet? It is your boy, Eric Bandholz. A little dark out, so why don't you just sit and chill with me? Today, I wanted to talk a little bit about drugs. I want to talk about drugs and how I use drugs, which drugs I use, maybe things that we don't think of as drugs, that are drugs, that I consider drugs, and maybe how it affects your life. So, believe it or not, I've always been pretty conservative when it comes to experimentation. I had my first lick of alcohol when I was 18, and I've never done cocaine, I've never done heroin, I've never done ecstasy, I've never done, what do they call it, meth. I've never done like any drugs that are hard. I have smoked pot, I have drank alcohol, and then I have, like I take ibuprofen or whatever. So like my drug use historically is very different than that of Carlos Costa, who is a recovering addict. So I've never had those addiction to drugs. Like I've never self-medicated through drugs or anything like that. And I think that's kind of like the important thing is like how you use the drugs and how you expect to get, or what you expect to get out of the drugs. So in college is when I drank alcohol, and back then I drank not for the right reasons. I think I drank to get drunk, and it was a sport almost to a certain degree, and how many beers could you drink. And I've got some fun memories from that, or some fun blackouts, not memories, things like that. And the culture of college and drinking isn't exactly a healthy culture in hindsight. But I almost think like at that age, it's something that you need to go through, and you have to learn your own limits. And personally, as a parent, I'm going to take a lot more liberal stance on alcohol. My parents were, pretty hard on like abstinence and not drinking, and doing the right things and following the rules. And I want to teach my children something different. I want to teach them how to use it responsibly. I want to teach them to appreciate it and show them what it does. Because I do think there is a lot of aspects of alcohol that are positive. The socialization aspect of enjoying it with your friends, with your family. And then, there is some health benefits, like red wine can help with the longevity of your life if you drink, no more than a glass a day. But there are like just tons of negative attributes when it comes to alcohol as well. Like alcohol is a poison. Like you are poisoning your body when you consume it, and your liver's got to work harder to clear your body of that poison, that toxin. And then if you consume too much of it, it can lead to liver failure, of course, death. Not to mention like the social implications that you can have of lower inhibitions for your actions and things that you may do under the influence of alcohol. Now, pot, I didn't start smoking, or I don't smoke pot. The first time I smoked pot was in Washington when they legalized it. So I wasn't until like I was in my 30s. And that's another thing that I've looked onto. If you guys are still young out there, if you're still in your teens, I'd recommend that you hold off until you're maybe your mid-20s before you get into that, because marijuana plays an effect on your developing brain, and whether you want to believe it or not, your mind's still developing as a teenager. And the longer you can avoid trying marijuana, the less of an impact it's going to have on your mental capabilities as you age. And personally, I got into it when it was legalized. I tried it, and on special occasions, I'll be open to enjoying what do you call it, marijuana, pot. I don't even know what the nomenclature is nowadays. But I do think that marijuana is a healthier option than alcohol. I think like if you had to choose between I'm going to smoke pot and I'm going to drink alcohol, then I would say, hey, go the marijuana route. And not only that, like try not to smoke it, like because you can do like vaporizers, or you can do like you can eat it, you can bake it, you can there's like you can drink it. I think they got drinks nowadays. Like you can yeah, I think it's called Bhat in India. If I have any Indians friends out there, that they have a weed-based drink. So there's a lot of different ways to consume it in a healthier way than smoking it. Anytime you burn combustibles, it's not going to be as healthy alternative to just breathing the air. So there is some risk involved in that. Now I think there's a lot of benefits to drugs. So my favorite drug is caffeine. More specifically, I love coffee. I think coffee is probably the one thing that I'm addicted to. I feel like I could switch to decaf, so I don't think I'm really addicted to caffeine, but just the experience of coffee and that interactions that I have in the office, brewing coffee with my coworkers, or going to the coffee shop and sitting and enjoying it, and I just really love the flavor. You know, I don't have a sweet tooth, like I could give up sugar, but I do love caffeine and coffee, and but I don't have like that craving for stimulants. So I've never done cocaine, I've never done meth. I don't think I would particularly enjoy it, because if I have like 2 cups of coffee, then like I'm all jittery, I'm all over the board, and it's not something that I really find that enjoyable. So I think it's understanding like I think you've got to explore things in life. I think you got to try things. I think you got to experience things. There have been times when I've smoked pot and probably smoked a little bit too much of it, and it really got me thinking about the interactions with my friends and my loved ones around, or you know, like I remember one time I smoked, and like I finally understood like the concept of programming and development, and I understood like the concept of infinity, and it's kind of like a tool or device to allow you to see the world differently, to like understand relationships differently, and be able to connect on ways that you're not able to connect sober, you know, and I think that's the fun of it, right? That's the experience that you have in life. And I think it's, if you're using it as a way to self-medicate, as a way to escape, as a way to, or as a way of habit and routine that isn't part of an experience, then I think maybe you should look at how you're using it and maybe develop it differently. And then my other favorite drug, I would say, is ibuprofen. You know, ibuprofen, those little blue pills, man, I don't know what it is. They just, if I got a headache, I'll take 2 or 3 of them, and it just seems to work great. And I would say those are my favorite drugs of use. Marijuana on occasion, coffee all the time, ibuprofen as needed, and then alcohol. You know, so alcohol I consumed a lot in college, and it's actually something that I don't really consume much anymore. Now, I want to say I've gone completely away from it. I will have a beer probably about twice a month, like whereas I used to be drinking, you know, 1 or 2 a day. And I get headaches with alcohol. As I've aged and I've gotten older, I feel the effects of it on me a bunch more. So it's not as enjoyable. And like, you know, I don't like getting drunk for the sake of getting drunk. But I do like, as I've aged, I do kind of appreciate like the mindset that you can get from getting high. So that's my drug use, guys. I don't know if it added any values. If you guys do drugs, if you're all totally straight, if you guys do harder stuff than me, maybe one day I'll try mushrooms. Maybe one day I'll try LSD. I don't know. If I did try something, it would probably be more along the hallucinogenic side than than the stimulant side or the like numbness side. Like I like the process of getting my brain going. Like that really kind of appeals to me. So I appreciate the chill, the sit down. As always, thanks for watching. Cheers and keep on growing.